chords that are needed. This song is played with a capo on the 4th fret, so these chord names are in reference to open position chord shapes. You'll need an E, which will be positioned on different frets, an E on the 7th, a G, a D with an F sharp bass note, E minor, a C. You'll also need a C7 that you slide down to a B7, an A suspended 4th, a B, an open A, the top of a D chord, and a C6. Let's take a look at these chords on the guitar. Here's my capo on the 4th fret. So these chord names are going to be open position chord names. You have an E that's going to be moved to different frets. I'm going to talk about that in more detail coming up. And then you have this E here on the 7th fret. I'm letting the 6th string ring open on that chord. You have a G, a D with an F sharp bass note, E minor, a C, C7. That you slide down to a B7, A suspended 4th, a B, A major, a D chord played like this. I'm playing just the top 2 notes of a D chord, muting the 1st string, and then a C6 makes an appearance. Here's the riff that plays during the verse. First, it's important to know where to put this E chord. So the fret numbers are in relation to the capo on the 4th fret. So there it's on the 1st fret. You put it on the 3rd fret, up to the 4th fret, the 6th fret, 8th fret, and then the last chord you do is the E on the 7th fret, the E bar chord on the 7th, with the open 6th string. So those are the positions that the E-shaped chord is put into. This chart names each of the chords in the main riff of the song. You can see that you slide that basic E open chord up onto different frets. So you'll be letting the 6th, 2nd, and 1st strings ring open throughout the first 5 chords. So it starts off with an open E, and then when you move it up to the 3rd fret, it's an E 6-9 flat 5 chord. That's kind of a long name. And then on the 4th fret, it's an E minor 7th. On the 6th fret, it's an E 13th. On the 8th fret, it's an E major 9th. And then you finish the riff with the E bar chord on the 7th. The next thing to understand is how that bass line is played on the 6th string. So what you're going to do is you're going to place your pinky finger on a note on the 6th string. So the first one you hit is on the 4th fret. And then after you go up to that 3rd chord, then you're going to hit the 7th fret. And then you go to the next chord, you're going to hit the 10th fret with your pinky finger before hitting the last 2 chords. So now let's put the strumming pattern together. So it starts off, I'm down, up, muting right after that upstroke, and then I go, so the first position is, and then you're going to do the same pattern on the next part. So that the next chord you go to is 2 steps. So it's down, so down, up, upstroke. I'm doing the chord here on the 4th fret. And then I'm doing the same thing on the bass note. So from the beginning it's, and then I get to the chord here on the 6th fret, and it's the same pattern as the first strumming pattern. Except I have to reach now to the 10th fret. And then I hit. So those last 2 chords go like that. So slowly it sounds like. Strumming pattern for the other 2 sections is basically a down, down, up, down pattern. Sounds like this. Down, down, up, down, 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 up, down, 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 up, down, 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 up, down, down. There's an instrumental section that sounds like this. There's two chords in that instrumental section, E minor and a C6. So the E minor strumming is down, down, up, down, 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 up, down, 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 up, down. And then on the C6 it's down, 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 up, down, 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 up, down, 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 up, down, 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 down. There's some additional instrumentation you can add to the end of the song. It sounds like this. Those chords are on the frets 7, 8, and 9 on strings 1, 2, and 3, and then 5, 7, 8 on 1, 2, and 3. The first chord is an E minor 7th, and the second chord is a D sharp minor flat 5. What you do to strum these is on the E minor, you strum strings 1 and 2 together, and then strings 2 and 3 together. So 2 steps there. And then when you switch down to the D sharp minor flat 5, you do the opposite. You do strings 3 and 2, and then strings 2 and 1. E minor, D sharp minor flat 5.